listeners a very informative and exciting topic that could give them a lot with the disasters that will come.
Dear listeners and else learners, today we are going to discuss the topic about typhoon. But before we proceed to our discussion, we would like to inform all of you about our game which we call Tanong Ko, Sagot Mo. And the mechanics and how to join this game will be given to us by Sir Jay.
Yes, Sir Ben, the mechanics of our game Tanong Ko, Sagot Mo is easy. We will be giving a question before we proceed to our main discussion. And if you already know the answer, then you can text it to us together with your name and address, or you can send your answer, name, address, and cell phone number in the comment box. For our listeners, send your answers to 0912 490223. And for our followers who are watching us through FB Live on FB page of 103.9 Radyo Natin FM Naval Biliran, you can write your answers at the comment box.
Again, you can text your answer at 0912 490 or you can write it on the comment box. We will announce the winner at the end part of our program. The winner will receive 50 pesos worth of load sponsored by Sir Ronald Minyosa, the mobile teacher of Kabukgayan District 1. Thank you so much, Sir Ronald.
Okay, here is our question for today's game Tanong Ko, Sagot Mo. What is the scientific name of typhoon or bagyo? Again, what is the scientific name of typhoon or bagyo? So dear listeners and Als learners, if you already know the answer, then you can send it now through text or comment box at the comment box of the Facebook Live of 103.9 Radyo Natin FM Naval Biliran.
For today's episode, we will explain how a typhoon develops and moves. Again, this morning, we will explain how a typhoon develops and moves. But before we start our discussion, we will read a short article from the Department of Health about Typhoon Yolanda. After reading the article, we will be giving some questions that you are going to answer. So please listen carefully, prepare your pen and paper, then write down the important data mentioned in the article. After listening to the article, you are going to answer some questions.
Last November 1, 2013, a low-pressure area was spotted over the Caroline in Kiribati. It moved westward and intensified into a tropical depression on November 3. It became a tropical storm and earned the international name Haiyan on November 4, 2013, and eventually intensified into a typhoon category on November 5.
With an expanding and depending obscuring of clouds and a clear eye visible in satellite, the Joint Typhoon Warning Center or the JTWC upgraded Haiyan into a super typhoon which had a maximum sustained wind of 150 kilometers per hour and gustiness up to 185 kilometers per hour on November 6. Haiyan became the 24th typhoon to enter the Philippine Area of Responsibility or PAR and was locally named Yolanda.
On November 8, Yolanda hit Philippines with wind of 313 km per hour and has been described as the strongest tropical cyclone to make landfall in recorded history. It made 6 landfalls. First, in Giwan, Eastern Samar. Second, in Tolosa, Leyte. Third is in Daang Bantayan. Fourth is Concepcion, Iloilo. And sixth is in Busuanga, Palawan. Super Typhoon Yolanda was accompanied by a monstrous wind that uprooted trees and tore roof of buildings, while storm surges as high as 10 to 20 feet smashed into coastal communities.
That was a tragic and horrible experience. And just after that disaster, the whole world lost contact with the affected areas because power and communication lines were cut off. and even satellites could not locate Leyte and Samar from the map.
Media from around the globe generated the lodge of news, features, and commentaries on the rescue, recovery, relief, and rehabilitation of the government, the private sectors, and from international humanitarian assistance.
You know what, Sir Jake? I have a friend in Tacloban who lost his whole family and even their house was smashed by Typhoon Yolanda. But anyway, it was already over and we could do nothing but to rose from this sad experience and move on.
You are right, Sir Ben, and let us also pray for the casualties from the monstrous typhoon. How about you, our dear Als learners? What are your experiences during the Typhoon Yolanda? Are you a Yolanda survivor? You can write your answers in your paper and submit it to your Als teacher after this discussion.
So, this time let us proceed to our main lesson. Ready yourself again? Because we will be explaining today about typhoon, how it develops and moves. Typhoon is one of the natural calamities that we encountered, especially here in Philippines. Before we move on, let us try to know and understand the scientific name of typhoon. Sir Jake, can you give us the scientific name of typhoon and what does it mean?
Tropical cyclone is the scientific name of typhoon or bagyo. It is a rapid rotating storm originating over tropical oceans from where it draws the energy to develop. It has a low pressure center and clouds spiraling towards the eye wall surrounding the eye. The central part of the system where the weather is normally calm and free of clouds.
Hurricanes, cyclones, and typhoons are all types of tropical cyclone. But what's the difference between them? Well, basically they are the same thing. They only differ because it depends upon where they came from or from where they occur.
Hurricanes are tropical storms that forms over the North Atlantic Ocean and Northeast Pacific Ocean. And cyclones form over South Pacific and Indian Ocean. However, those tropical cyclones that are formed over Northwest Pacific Ocean is what we call typhoon or bagyo on our local world.
Aha! Then how does typhoon develop, Sir Jake? Can you explain it to our listeners and followers?
A typhoon develops when winds blow into areas of the ocean where the water is warm. These winds collect moisture and rise, while the colder air moves below. This creates pressure, which causes the winds to move very quickly. The wind that rotates or spins around a center is called the eye.
That is why typhoons are made up of water and air, and that typhoons develop in the Pacific Ocean. It moves northwest, then go through land masses where we live and destroy our homes and other agricultural land areas. One of the strongest typhoon in the history is the Typhoon Yolanda that struck almost the whole portion of Visayas and lower portion of Luzon.
Again, typhoon develops when winds blow into areas of the ocean where the water is warm. The winds collect moisture and rise, while colder air moves below. This creates pressure, which causes the winds to move very quickly. Typhoons develop in the Pacific Ocean. It moves northwest, then go through land masses where we live and destroy our homes and other agricultural land areas. If you noticed about typhoon, when do the Pag-asa shows the public storm signal, Sir Ben?
When the typhoon enters the Philippine area of responsibility, it is only the time when Pag-asa gives the public storm warning signal. Pag-asa monitors the typhoon that enter the PAR, and when it is constantly in monitor, generally towards the Philippines, it is the time to issue warning signals. The public storm warning signal are raised to warn the public how strong the incoming typhoon is, so that the people will have the time to prepare for the coming calamity.
public storm signal are categorized into five, where signal number 1 has 30 to 60 km per hour gustness, while signal number 2 has 61 to 100 km wind. Signal number 3 has 121 to 170 km per hour. Signal number 4 has 171 to 220 km per hour. And the signal number 5 is a super typhoon, which is very dangerous, and it has 221 km per hour strong wind above like Typhoon Yolanda.
Signal number 5 is already a super typhoon, and it is very disastrous. When it hits us, it can cause big damage in our infrastructure. Our houses, buildings, other properties can even kill people and animals.
Yes, Sir Ben, even our agricultural land areas might be affected if a strong typhoon will hit us.
You know what, Sir Jake? Typhoon has also its parts, namely the rain bands, the eye, and the eye wall.
Rain bands contain showers and thunderstorms, while eye wall is the most dangerous part of the typhoon because it contains heavy rains and strong winds. It is a ring of towering thunderstorms where the most severe weather and the highest winds occur. So that is why the typhoon moves in spiral counterclockwise pattern in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere, and goes out at the top in the opposite direction. In the center of the storm, air sinks, forming an eye that is mostly cloud-free.
The eye part of the storm is very quiet and calm. Usually, the eye only develops if the maximum speed sustains wind speed go above 119 kilometers per hour. It is roughly a circular area, typically about 30 to 65 kilometers in diameter. It is just like when you are playing a water inside a basin and you keep rotating using your hand, the center of it will become a hole and looks like an eye, right?
You're right, Sir Ben. I've been playing that every day when I was a kid, and before I took a bath, I was always played the water inside the basin until such time that my mother scolded me.
You are so lucky, Sir Jake, because you took a bath daily.
Yes, Sir Ben. How about you? Do you take a bath daily?
Never mind, Sir Jake. Let us continue our lesson.
Before we challenge our learners on how deep they have grasped our discussion, let us first have a recap of what we have discussed a while ago. If we really have explained well to them how typhoon develops and moves.
Yes, Sir Jake. Let us have first a recap. Okay, learners, get your pen and notebook and write down the information that we are going to mention regarding the typhoon. If you have not taken down this information during our discussion earlier, you better write it now for your reference and our activity later on.
Typhoon is scientifically known as tropical cyclone. It develops in the Pacific Ocean when wind blow into areas of the ocean where the water is warm. These winds collect moisture and rise, while colder air moves below. This creates pressure, which causes the wind to move very quickly. Again, typhoon is scientifically known as tropical cyclone. It develops in the Pacific Ocean when winds blow into areas of the ocean where the water is warm. These winds collect moisture and rise. While the colder air moves below, this creates pressure, which causes the winds to move very quickly.
Typhoon moves northwest, then go through land masses where we live, and destroy our homes and other agricultural land areas. Typhoon moves in spiral counterclockwise pattern in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere, and goes out at the top in the opposite direction. In the center of the storm, air sinks form an eye that is most cloud-free. Again, typhoon moves northwest in spiral counterclockwise pattern in the northern hemisphere and clockwise in the southern hemisphere, and goes out at the top in the opposite direction.
Pag-asa monitors the typhoon that enters the PAR or Philippine Area of Responsibility, and with it is constantly in motion, generally towards the Philippines, they issue public storm signal to inform the people about the strength of the coming typhoon, categorized into 5. Typhoon signals are categorized into 5 depending on the gustiness or strength of the wind signal. Signal number 1 has 30 to 60 km per hour wind gustiness, while signal number 2 has 61 to 120 km per hour wind gustiness, while signal number 3 has 121 to 170 km per hour, while signal number 4 has 171 to 220 km per hour, and lastly, the signal number 5 has 221 km per hour and above wind gustiness is already a super typhoon, which is very dangerous and disastrous.
Typhoon has also its parts, and they are the rain bands that contain shower and thunderstorms. Then the eye is the center of the typhoon and mostly have calm weather. It is roughly a circular area, typically about 30 to 65 kilometers in diameter. The third part is the eye wall, which is a ring of towering thunderstorms where the most severe weather and highest winds occur. It is most dangerous part of the typhoon because it contains heavy rains and strong winds.
Okay, I hope that everything about our topic have been explained well. So now, please prepare your ballpen and paper because we will be having a short activity.
Listen carefully for the direction. I will read the question twice and you may write it on your notebook or paper. Write true if the statement is true and false if the statement is not right. And explain why the statement is true or false. Again, write true if the statement is true and false if the statement is not right. And explain why the statement is true or false.
Number 1. The eye is the most dangerous part of the typhoon. Again, the eye is the most dangerous part of the typhoon.
Number 2. Tropical cyclone is also known as typhoon in the North Atlantic Ocean and North Pacific. Again, tropical cyclone is also known as typhoon in the North Atlantic Ocean and North Pacific.
Number 3. Typhoon always starts over warm ocean waters. Again, typhoon always starts over warm ocean waters.
Number 4. Signal number 5 is considered as super typhoon. Again, signal number 5 is considered as super typhoon.
And for the last number, number 5, hurricanes, typhoons, and cyclones are the same. Again, hurricanes, typhoons, and cyclones are the same.
Okay, let us check your answers if it is correct. Number 1. The eye is the most dangerous part of the typhoon. The answer is false. Because the eye is the calmest part of the typhoon and the eye wall is the severe weather and strong winds. That's so it's the most dangerous part of the typhoon.
Number 2. Tropical cyclone is also known as typhoon in the North Ocean and North Pacific. The answer is false because hurricane is the name of the typhoon in North Atlantic Ocean and North Pacific, and typhoon names differ when they occur.
Number 3. Typhoon always starts over warm ocean waters. Yes, the statement is true. Typhoon or tropical cyclones form or starts only over warm ocean waters, The warm, moist air over the ocean rises upward until it creates into a typhoon.
Number 4. Signal number 5 is considered a super typhoon. This statement is true. Signal number 5 is already a super typhoon. It has the strongest wind that reach to 221 kilometers per hour and above and can cause severe damages.
And lastly, hurricanes, typhoons, and cyclones are the same. Yes, it is true. Typhoons, cyclones, and hurricanes are all tropical cyclones. They only differ in names because of the place where they occur.
Alright, if you got the perfect score, then congratulations. If not, it's okay. Don't be disappointed. We still have our last activity. Please prepare your pen and paper again.
Right, Sir Jay. Let us give another chance to those who did not get the perfect score. Here is our last activity.
Listen carefully. We will read the question only twice. We have here only 2 questions for your next activity. Here is now the direction of what you're going to do in your next activity. Answer the following questions. And first is, write 1 paragraph explanation containing at least 5 sentences. We will give 5 points for those who can explain correctly. Write your explanation on a clean piece of paper or on your worksheet provided by your ALS teacher. Explanation in your paper. Again, answer the following questions. Write a 1 paragraph explanation containing at least 5 sentences. We will give 5 points for those who can explain correctly. Write your explanation on a clean piece of paper or on your worksheets provided by your ALS teacher and submit it to your ALS teacher.
Okay, here is our question for number 1. How does the typhoon develops and how does it moves? Again, how does the typhoon develops and how does it moves?
For the second question, what will happen if a strong typhoon hits the land masses? Again, what will happen if a strong typhoon hits the land masses?
So that was the end of our lesson for this morning, and we hope that you've learned a lot from the very informative topic that we have discussed today here at 103.9 Radio Natin FM Noval Biliran.
And before we bid goodbye, let us now announce our winner for Tanong Ko, Sagot Mo. Our lucky winner for today is Mika Ritanal from Vista Del Mar, Caibiran, Biliran. Congratulations! You won 50 pesos worth of mobile load.
Congratulations, Mika Ritanel! And before we end this session, let me share with you this quote from John Kinlan. Preparedness is the only way we can combat in a natural disaster. Please keep tuning in and follow in our Als Radyo Eskwela, aired every Monday and Friday at 11 a.m. to 11:30 in the morning. You will not only be entertained, you will also learn a lot.
That is all for today's episode. This is Teacher Jake saying goodbye and God bless and have a nice day ahead, everyone.
And I am Teacher Ben, your host for today. Thank you and God bless.